Welcome back, folks, to the random video blog where every single Friday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, run down my rambling thoughts in the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. So for today's topic, it was temporarily penciled in. Well, not technically because I write everything out on my computer, but you know what I mean, though. It was pretty temporary in terms of what I'd be talking about today. The things I talk about here in the video blog change from week to week. Sometimes I have things planned weeks and even months out. Sometimes, something big will happen and I'll change my topic, like with the Roman Reigns suspension a few weeks ago. This week I was kind of juggling around what I wanted to talk about. A few different topics came to mind, but honestly, as good of a week as this was in wrestling, I really enjoyed Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. I don't think Ring of Honor posted anything. We had Ultima Lucha Dos. We had the bracketology thing for the Cruiserweight Classic on Wednesday night. But really the biggest thing that everyone is talking about right now in the world of wrestling is TNA Impact Wrestling's final deletion match from Tuesday night on Pop TV between Jeff Hardy and the broken Matt Hardy, whose t-shirt I'm wearing right now, fittingly for this episode of the random video blog. But it's been a while since I've talked about TNA here in the video blog. I mean, I run the reviews every single Tuesday night on nextwrestling.net, cheap plug. I still watch the show. I know a lot of people gave up years ago, months ago, whatever. But honestly, like I've been saying, I wrote a whole article about this not too long ago for the website. 5 reasons why you should be watching Impact Wrestling. The on-air product, Jericho said it himself on one of the most recent episodes of Talk is Jericho. The on-air product has improved immensely since they've been on Pop TV. It's still not absolutely amazing, but it is significantly better from week to week than it was even a year or so ago. So I strongly recommend people check it out from week to week. And it did not make me, it made me super happy to see that all this attention that TNA was getting from this one match. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding the match, the feud, whatever. And it really all started about a month ago, right before TNA's Slammiversary pay-per-view. Matt and Jeff did this promo, I guess you can call it, this vignette, video package, whatever, when I believe Jeff journeyed to Matt's house and he was challenging him to a match. And Matt Hardy, who became broken after an I Quit match back in late April, he swanton bombed Matt Hardy through a table, and Matt Hardy went off the deep end. He became crazy, insane, whatever. A lot more insane or a lunatic fringe than Dean Ambrose is, honestly. But anyway, so they did that whole thing, put the video package up, and it was just one giant train wreck. Hilariously bad, but still good in a way, which I'll talk about the whole title of this video in a second. It was hilariously bad and really caught the attention of the wrestling world, getting a lot of eyes on the Slammiversary pay-per-view, which honestly I didn't think was too good. I thought the Matt and Jeff match, the Full Metal Mayhem match they had, was really, really good. But beyond that, I just thought it was really not anything. The whole pay-per-view on the pay-per-view on the whole was really nothing special in my opinion. But anyway, that one feud, that one fucking vignette involving Matt and Jeff and their whole feud, whatever the hell it's been about, garnered more interest in TNA than anything else in the past, honestly, 3 or 4 years. In a positive way. People from that vignette tuned in to see Slammiversary, to see that match, to see what would happen. And it was a really, really good match. Matt fucking throwing Jeff into a keyboard at ringside. It was weird, really wacky and weird and whatever else. And that was only the beginning. That was what kind of triggered the interest in this feud. The whole Brother Nero and Willow and all that other shit and the fucking piano and shit like that. Was it a good feud? I don't know if it was a good feud or a great feud, but it was very entertaining, which brings me to the title of this video. So before I go any further, Final Deletion, which I'll talk about momentarily, when I was watching that on Tuesday night, and like I said, I've been watching TNA from week to week. Even before, even a year ago, I didn't watch it live. I had Destination America, but when I went back to school, where I don't have Destination America or even Pop TV, I didn't really care to watch the show live. I just was busy doing other things. I would just watch it the next day or whatever else. I still watched TNA to review it for my website, but beyond that, I didn't really care about the product up until my phone just went off. My apologies. But beyond that, I just didn't really give two shits about the product. So then going into 2016, it's really been this rejuvenated product that has got me interested and intrigued and engaged in the product once again. And it really all culminated with this great Final Deletion match this past week on Pop TV between Matt and Jeff. So again, before we get any further into Final Deletion and my thoughts on that, which brings me to the title of this video, why, and a lot of you may not be very familiar with the movie that I'm about to talk about or anything else, but I'll try to shed some light on it. So when I was watching the Final Deletion match this past week, and all that it had to offer, in my opinion, a masterpiece of a match. A lot of people shit on it, a lot of people loved it, not a lot of in between. You either loved the match or you hated it. And that to me, while I was watching that, and even more so the feedback online, it gave me a direct, I don't know what it was, a direct association. It really immediately made me think of this one movie called The Room, which again, a lot of you may not be familiar with, have never heard of before, maybe rightfully so, but I'll kind of catch you up to speed a little bit. So a few years ago, my roommate that I'm really good friends with, I have been good friends with since I came to college a few years ago, introduced me to this movie called The Room, featuring Tommy Wiseau, a director who I've never heard of before, one of the most mysterious men I've ever seen in my life, not in a good way. No one knows where he's come from, where he was born, where he lives, whatever. It's a very weird situation. So anyway, he talked about this movie time and time again, how it was just this classic masterpiece of a movie, but not in the way that like Jaws was, or the Titanic, but a classic in the sense that it was so fucking atrocious. It was hilarious. And I've seen a lot of bad movies that I don't want to rewatch, but this movie was so bad that it became memorable. And we've seen it. I've watched the movie with him maybe 3 or 4 times. We've watched it with other people. I've seen it multiple times, but I never get tired of watching it just because it's so hilariously bad. Again, The Room, I feel like, I don't know, I've seen it, referenced on message boards and stuff, on like, comment threads and wrestling websites. So maybe some of you have heard of the movie. I would implore you to check it out. I'm sure it's available somewhere online. You can buy the movie online. It's not available on Netflix or anything like that. I wish it was. But the movie was so bad. The acting was atrocious. They used the same scenes over and over again. There was like random sex scenes like here and there in like the first 10 seconds of the movie. Like bam, just random ass cheeks in the first 10 seconds of the fucking movie. And again, the whole movie was just so bad that it became entertaining, that I didn't want to stop watching. It's like a car wreck. It's like a train wreck. You just don't want to take your eyes off of it because it's so engaging. No matter how bad it might be, you just can't keep your eyes off it. And that's exactly what this movie was. And it came out in 2003, I think. And like I said, you can find it online if you want to watch it. Maybe like an hour and a half long. I don't really know. But it's well worth the watch. Again, hilariously bad. It's so bad, it's good. And that's why I feel like you can relate to the final deletion match between Matt and Jeff. You can't really rate it. You can't really give it a ranking. You can't give it a star rating as you would any other wrestling match. You can't give it 5 stars for technical wrestling or great storytelling. I guess you can for storytelling, but, by and large, it was not a traditional wrestling match. It was something different. It was something unprecedented. Something we've never before seen in the world of wrestling, let alone TNA, which has been struggling to get buzz around their product for a long time now. The product, the fucking everything about TNA right now just feels dead. No one was talking about TNA. Yeah, up until this week, they created enough buzz on social media through the show by building it up and everything else that they made people want to see this match. And rightfully so. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And watching it back and rewatching certain parts back over the past couple of days, it just reminded me like how much of a masterpiece this match really was. And again, something so different. And it was so, again, epically bad with all the dramatic music and Matt's, awful accent and everything else. And just everything. The Gardener. I mean, I thought everything about the match was just, amazing. But not amazing in that it was like Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker from WrestleMania 25. But amazing in the sense that it was so fucking entertaining and such a huge train wreck of a match that it was so fun to watch. And I talked about this only a few days ago. I mean, the clip went up just yesterday here on the channel. Why it's important for pro wrestling to be fun. And that's exactly what this match was. I do not want to see this type of match every single week. I'd be happy if I never saw this type of match again. But because it was something so different, something so out of the ordinary, which is so rare these days in wrestling, that's why I loved it. It was something different. You got to take your hat. You got to take your hat off. I take my hat off to TNA for trying something different. And, I mean, they're in a desperate situation right now where no one is talking about the company at all. Their ratings are in the shitter. They're on a network that hardly anyone has. I don't have. And I have to go through fucking websites to find the show most weeks. But they found enough buzz. I saw everyone on my timeline this past week talking about TNA for the first time, like I said on Twitter, for the first time in at least 4 years. Because that, to me, was the last time the product was really, really at its best, back in 2012. Ever since then, it's been all downhill. And the product, all year round, has been really, really good. But because it's so formulaic, maybe no one cares about it, or it's just a TNA name that creates a stench. I don't know, but Jim Ross praised it, Jericho praised it, which brings a smile to my face that wrestlers are bringing attention to this match. And, They're turning heads, and I've seen even some people, because of that show on Tuesday night, not just that match was great, I thought the overall episode is pretty good, save for the really weird street fight between Marty Bell and Jade that I didn't really care for. But the Ultimate X match was good. We have Bobby Lashley versus Eddie Edwards for the X Division Championship next week on the show, which should be great too. So they use this show as a vehicle to build towards next week, which is what they've been doing all year round, but with the most amount of eyes on their TV show that they've had all year round. That's when they did it, that's when it mattered most. And they hit a home run, and I can't wait to see what next week's numbers are. And they very well will go down, obviously, but people, because they're watching this match, some people, tuned into TNA for the first time in a while and caught the rest of the episode. Caught, that X Division segment that was really, really good between Lashley and Edwards to set up next week's marquee match, title for title. But going back to my original comparison, why the Final Deletion match is like the equivalent to the movie The Room. Again, you've never seen the movie. If you've never seen the movie, check it out at your leisure. But again, the acting was so bad. Matt Hardy's acting is not great. But because it's not great, that's why it's awesome. Because it's hilarious. I could not stop dying at the fucking drone. And TNA knows how stupid this whole thing is. They are well aware. TNA's company awareness, their brand awareness, their self-awareness is not usually at an all-time high. But this week, for whatever reason, it was. They realized just how dumb, how asinine this entire angle has been, and they fed off that. They capitalized off that. They saw what people's reactions were to that video package a few weeks ago, and they went balls to the wall like on acid in booking this match. And it really paid off. Again, I got a lot of people talking about it. I saw a lot of positive feedback, again, for people talking or, saying that was shit, the worst thing I've ever seen. You know what? It succeeded. You still watch the show anyway. You still watch the fucking show. And that's exactly what The Room was too. The movie was so bad that that's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And honestly, it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. But because it was so hilarious, I enjoyed it. And even people that didn't enjoy the movie because it was so bad, you still went out of your way to watch the movie because you heard so much about it and how bad it was. You still gave them money anyway. You know what I mean? You still gave them your viewing. You still gave them your money. You still gave them your purchase of the DVD or the match or your viewing of it, your view count on YouTube, whatever. You know what I mean? So, again, if you haven't seen either the match or the movie of The Room or Final Deletion, I would implore you to check out both because both are so epically bad. That's what just makes them great. So, like I said, the movie The Room is available here on the the internet, whatever the internets. If you just search it up online somewhere, I'm sure you'll find it. You can buy the DVD online, but I'm sure you can find some version of the movie somewhere online. But you can also watch the Final Deletion match as TNA has uploaded on their YouTube channel, as they've called it. It is available on their channel right now, so be sure to check it out. But that is why I enjoy the Final Deletion match and what it reminded me of, or how it reminded me of The Room, the movie The Room. If you've never seen it before, like I said, check it out at your pleasure, at your leisure, whatever. You will not regret it, trust me. So with that being said, guys, as always, thank you for watching the video blog. Next week, I have no idea what we're going to be talking about. Like I said, it changes from week to week and what happens. And next week, maybe something having to do with the draft. Who knows? I know I did a draft video right when I started doing these video blogs regularly back in April of 2014. So I look forward to talking about that and what the draft will bring in a little less than 2 weeks and what Battleground will bring, Ultimate Luchados and Cruiserweight Classic, UFC 200 this Saturday, tomorrow even. I can't wait for that. So it's going to be a big month, and we really kicked it off on the right note this past week with the Final Deletion match between Matt and Jeff Hardy. So that being said, folks, have a great rest of your weekend. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.